Hello, thank you for joining us here at the Electronica Exchange series of podcasts. I'm delighted to welcome Rainer Krauss from Kurtz Ersa here with me in the studio on the last day of the show. Welcome, Rainer.
Thank you that I can be here.
It's always great to see you.
Yeah.
We bump into each other all over the world, of course, and it's been a very busy 3 days here at the show. Now, I just want to look back at Kurtz Ersa's journey in India, because I believe you've been active on the market for 35 years.
Exactly.
Plus, and now since the beginning of 2000, at some point, you've got a partner as well. So you're really investing in India. Tell us a little bit about that journey and what have been the highlights for you?
So the Indian market was for us the whole time relevant, and we was there over 35 years, what you say. But after 30 years, we get a request from the customer. As a manufacturer, you have to be closer to our customers. But we have to see also, it was struggling. The market goes up and down very often in the last 30 years, but in the last 5 years, in the last 7 years, we see really it going up. And then we started the typical, let me say, European, the typical German, South German way that we say we started with a service. So we have to give our customers the best service what is possible. And service means not to install machine, to make service, to repair machine. Service means for us that we help him in the process. So how he can go faster, how he can improve his yield. This is what we understand under service. And so we started with the first 1 to 3 service engineers, and then say now it's time, 2021, that we, in the time of Corona, now we have to set up our own office, and this goes really wonderful, very fast. And today, 2025, we are 22 employees. We are looking now for a new space. We are looking for other possibilities, what it's here. And I have a really, and this is make me really proud. I have a meeting on Monday with 2 different companies, and both companies told me, hey, now we have to invest again, and we have to invest with Kurtz Ersa. Why? I know you are expensive, but I got from the market, you give the best service, you will be close with the customer, and this is our goal, what we are doing everywhere in the world. We are going with our customers, and this was a reason we have more customers in India. We do it by ourselves. So it's really a successful story under the roof of India. And we know each area, each region, it's different. And of course, you get a handshake for an order, and then you need another 4, 6, sometimes 8 weeks that you get the written order. And it's very hard to following up the customer every week. Remember, hey, how it's the status. But this is the way how we are working here.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's a long-term investment, and you recognize that very early on. You can't just come here as a one-off and things happen. So what was it about the Indian market, and what is about the Indian market at the moment that is really making you want to invest a lot more?
The Indian market have a real dynamic in the moment. And our biggest customer that we start 4 years ago have today 18 machines from us. So it's really a dynamic market. I have to say it's still 80% local market. It's only 20% export, what our customers are doing, but it's really going forwards. And we see we are in the business with the 2 EV wheelers, with the 2-wheelers, EV motorcycles, and scooters. We are in the new technology of the EV cars and so on. So it's a market with a demand. So we go with the customer, but I have to say also from the other side, a very important step was that we make all these technology seminars. I think we have done in the last 4 years minimum 18, 22 seminars. And these are technology seminars. It's not selling any machines, or we explain how you have to run by this board, which technology, what is the design of the board, and so on. So we convince the customer that we have to share together the information to get the best deal, to get the best machine for your demand.
Mm-hmm. So it's also about educating and giving the tools to your customers to be able to then transfer it to their factories, which is very important. Looking back at the Indian market, obviously it's such a quick development with all the government support that is being put onto electronics manufacturing. But looking back, I would imagine a lot of the factories traditionally you would see are smaller factories that use hand soldering, hand manufacturing. Do you see that developing and automation coming in a lot more?
Absolutely. And it goes in two directions. In one side, it's driven from the customer's customer. And on the other side, it's also driven that now European AMS companies look for a joint venture and bring his experience in this market. But very clear, automation means quality. And depends on the running cost of the machine and the running cost of the employees and so on, and the labor cost. We see that automation needs some steps, but the automation can be that we have a transport system in front, that we have an entrance transport system on the end, and we load continually. Then this is what we need to get a good yield. We need a continually flow. What is standard in an SMT line, then there you have a pick and place machine, you have the printer, and you get whatever every 15 seconds, every 30 seconds, you get a board. By THT, it's this still very often with hand placement, and then he have a rack or whatever. And when we go in a continually mode, we get a better yield on the end. Mm-hmm. And this is starting, but we have here also the first customer what get from us the complete periphery, made in Germany, for Indian customers. We have this already, and this is not only overseas customers; it's also local ones.
Sure, yeah. Okay, so a lot of opportunities there as well. Now you mentioned made in Germany for India. India is talking about make in India for India, but also as an export. Is that something that you have on your vision as well?
I cannot say everything, but number one, we are a family-based company, so we are in the 7th generation. Our company is 245 years old, and I get already the sign, please start a manufacturing in India, latest 2029 when we have our 250th birthday. But we are much faster, so maybe we will start or we will have the first prototype machine end of this year, but let me say realistically, latest end of the business year in March. Mm-hmm. And I'm very sure that we have in the summer, end of June, maybe end of May, we will have the first 3-4 machines, what we built here together with a partner, here in India, but the partner, it's a machinery builder. It's not a distributor or something like this, but know somebody, so it's a real machinery builder. And we do it like everywhere in the world, like in Mexico, or like in China. We have our frozen parts. That means parts what coming from Germany, and all this have to be organized. But we are very close to go now the next step that I can say, whatever in the next 3, 4, 5 months, we will have the first machine built here in India.
Oh, great. And there are a lot of incentives from the Indian government to promote such activities. Do you find that it helps when you're in a market like that?
I have to tell you, we are a very conservative family business. So we didn't ask for this. Yeah. So in the moment, in the interest of the market, in the interest of our customer, we have to look how this works. And normally we build our own factory. We look for our own suppliers and so on. But this is not so easy here in India. On the logistic and everything, and this is why I come up with the idea to our top management, to our owners, and say, hey, maybe we have to make a step before that. We say we have to work together with someone what have already all the machines, what have the experience, what make machinery frames, but for a complete different technology. And it needs some discussion in the family, that the family accepted this, but now he say, okay, maybe this is a way that we make a step further, and then the next step will be when we build more than one type of machine, then we take it over or whatever, and then we make it under our roof. Yeah,
I mean that's a very good approach to then implementing it and testing and seeing and then building slowly. And in a way, in some discussions I've had, is that for India, the approach that the Honorable Prime Minister is doing for his country, it's a strategic approach. It's not a quick fix.
Yeah.
Let's do this and throw lots of money at it, and tomorrow everything will be beautiful. It's a long-term approach where everybody, industry, academia, and the government are working together. So I think your approach is probably based on your experience over the 35 years plus that you've been here, but also a very good one.
And it's a global experience. And again, we are very open to our customer. In the moment, we are the only soldering supplier, what the manufacturer have his own distributor channel, what we sell and makes the process. So we are the only company in the moment that you discuss with the manufacturer. And we want not to give our customers some dream ideas. We make this and that, and the factory will come. We make step by step. And we are faster than it's on the beginning was a timeline, 2029. We are now 2025, 2026. And maybe in 3 years, we have our own factory. And then, of course, we will work together with the government that we get the right ground and everything.
Sure, yeah. Let's talk about the broader market and the concepts that we know very well from our discussions that we've had in Europe over the years, Industry 4.0, and in the wider sustainability and environmental impact. But Industry 4.0, how relevant is that at the moment in the Indian market?
Very clear for the big players, for the international players, this is a global standard. For the medium-sized family companies, and medium-sized means 500 to 5,000 employees. So it's big factories what have 3, 4, 5 SMT lines, what have 3, 4, 5 wave or selective machines. There is also coming now very relevant, driven on two sides. On one side from the customer, and the other side very clear, he want to improve his own products, he want to improve his own production. And there we are coming from two sides, or from three sides. Number one, first it's the training of the employees, of the operators. And we know all together, yes, this is important, but in the end, nobody do it really right. So nobody have time, and you have to learn by doing and so on. And we offer e-learning. This is like you have to make a driver license. So this is a platform where you are working with a computer, but you get forwards and backwards answers, where you have to go, where you're starting with the safety, how you start a machine, how you run a product, why you run this product, what you are doing inside the machine. So it's the basics up that you can start and you can run the production. And then we have different levels that you can change programming, that you can change this or that. There are small videos in, and at the end, you have to go over a test. And when you do it in the right time with 85% plus right answers, then you get a certificate. And when you have today your customer in, you can show the certificate, hey, this operator, yes. And when you have an audit, you have to say something, of course, our people are trained. Mm-hmm. And this is important before the machine arrived. Then we know all when the machine is arrived, the most important is the throughput. When can we start? And then it's no time for training. We do training on the job. We have 16, 17 service engineers already in India. So we are with our customer. We are the first 2 weeks with our customer. But the question comes later. And for this, we have this e-learning session. And this is not only for operators. This is also for maintenance, for quality control, how you have to check the machine with small videos and that.
Excellent. Well, but do you also find that the skill set, the baseline skill set in India of the engineers, machine programmers, machine operators, that there is a good base of people available that maybe in other countries we don't have, where there's a lack of skills, but India seems to have a pool of very skilled, educated people?
From this side, it's really an industry nation. We have really good skilled people, absolutely clear. It's more a mentality things. Can I tell to my supervisor that something is wrong, or that I see this with different eyes? So very often you see some liquid, that something is dropping, but nobody makes something. Then this depends on, can I tell this to someone, or I'm able to tell this to maintenance guys. And when you make something like a training like this, then it's clear, hey, I have seen on page 28, we have to do something like this.
Yeah,
but
sure.
The level of engineers are there. What our customer tells us, the biggest issue when the people are good trained, and when he runs the process, he goes to the neighbor. Then in the moment, very clear, the EMS, it's booming.
Yeah, we saw that in China.
Yeah,
happening as well. So, but yeah, it's I can see the Indian market developing so rapidly at the moment with all this investment going on that there are so many opportunities and growth areas that do you find there's still a lot of growth opportunities and room for everybody, or is it becoming a saturated market?
I want to say it only for India, but
Yeah.
my personal thing is it's globally. When you have no experience with export, with other nations, with other countries outside of Europe, it's absolutely too late to come to India. It's like when you go today to China or you go today to Mexico. It's too late.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or you go to East Europe or whatever. It's too late. You need experience. Yeah, you need a network, and you need a network also at home. So we have really a super team here in India, but he needs a connection. And we have 2-3 people running in Germany what help our Indians. Not that he didn't know what he have to do, but you have to bring in inside the operation company. Yeah, and when he have some updates, when he needs some information, not everything by a machine manufacturer, it's written down. Yeah? So you have to know which guy I have to ask, which engineer at home.
Yeah.
And this network, you need it already, and especially in India.
And it's what I've always said to customers of mine. It's trust. It's the network. It's the network trusting you that you are here to stay. And you can only prove that if you've been here consistently and not just popped in and out. I know we're short on time, but I just want to touch upon the sustainability, environmental sort of drive that we're talking about all over the world. Again, is India learning from that, and are they putting the same value on environmental and sustainable manufacturing practices?
In our mind, in our company, we have 2 sustainabilities. So we have one, what means the daily work, what means the machine, long lifetime with the machine, that you have the same partners, what you can discuss. For us, and it's like a little bit like Bollywood, but for us, it's when we sell a machine, this is like a marriage. Then we have to work now together the next 15, 20, very often 25 machines. Last year in Delhi, I was sitting in the conference with the Prime Minister, and my neighbor see my name and say, you are from Ersa? We have a machine from you. This is 25 years old. Yeah. So this is what we understand with a long-term relationship and so on. The other one, it's very clear. Also, here's the customer looks what it's a power supply, what it's a nitrogen supply, what it's a waste of the machine. And this is why we are very successful, for example, with wave machines under nitrogen 2. Then we have 10% of the waste, maybe less than 10%. So this is energy consumption, all this, it's very clear. It's in the focus, and this is a first discussion after we know what type of machine and which size of the machine it's needed. Then it's really starting, okay, how we can save energy, how we can save the world and so on.
So it's an opportunity really to look at the whole ecosystem and get everything right in a real growth market. Yeah. Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Rainer, for your time today. And it's the last day of the show, so I'm sure you've got a lot more meetings to have on your booth before we all go home and hopefully get a rest. So
many thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.